What is up, YouTube? That's here, and today I'm super excited to be back, bringing you guys another Pokemon Legends EA competitive guide, where today we're going to be helping you guys prep for Ranked Battle Season 4 starting up on December 17th, next Wednesday. The Ranked Ladder is going to go live. There's no legendaries involved in this format. It's going to be a ton of fun. So today, what we're going to do is go over all of the Ranked Battle rewards. We're going to go over 5 of the most popular Mega Evolutions you guys can expect to see on the Ranked Ladder. We're going to go over 5 non-Mega new Pokemon in the Mega Dimensions DLC that you guys can expect to see on the Ranked Ladder, and we're also going to go over 5 Pokemon from just the base form, the base decks of Legends EA. They're going to have like a new coat of paint. They're going to get a new lease on life because of the new meta that's happening in this Ranked Battle Season 4. So if that sounds like fun, if that sounds like something you're interested in, we have this content. We have a bunch of other educational content on the YouTube channel as well. If you're interested in learning more about competitive Pokemon Legends EA, think about dropping a sub on the channel. And without further ado, let's get right on into the video. Alright, so starting this bit off strong, we're actually going to talk about when this update is happening. So this is actually going to be happening at Wednesday, December 17th at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it's actually going to be a like midnight rank A push for a lot of players. But that being said, it goes until January 7th. So that is going to be Ranked Battle Season 4, which again will reward this Baxcalibur. If you're looking for the Mega Sceptile Stone, the Swampert or the Blazikenite, those are going to be the rewards for Ranked Battles 5, 6, and 7 happening in subsequent weeks. You can kind of tell that they break these down into like little 3-week periods. So we should have all of the Mega Evolution Stones for all of the Pokemon in this DLC within a couple months, which I think is actually really cool. So the way to actually unlock this is to get to rank S, and that's honestly only going to take a couple games to do. If you're getting like first or second in most of your lobbies, you're going to be blowing through the rewards. I think the last season to get to rank S, it only took me like 2 or 3 games, and I just like slapped together a team of Pokemon I like Garchomp, Metagross, and just kind of cruise control for cool. I might even do that again this season. If you're looking for some teams to actually get you right to rank S, most of the teams that we feature on this channel will be able to get you there, and I'm sure you guys can find a bunch of other ones as well. We also have a competitive Discord full of a ton of really good players. Think about checking that out in the linked in the description if you guys want to learn a little bit more about the competitive scene regarding this game and ask for help in building your own teams. That being said, you also get to unlock the Greninja-ite, the Delphox-ite, and the Chestnut along the way, just going through the ranked ladder. So if you missed out on getting those earlier, you're going to be able to get these now, even in Ranked Battle Season 4. I think it's so cool they're giving players multiple opportunities to earn these Mega Stones. So you also, at the end of the season, will get more promotion rewards, bottle caps, Mega Shards, and a bunch of other stuff like that. So really, really cool stuff. Very, very excited to use Baxcalibur. And while Baxcalibur is a reward for hitting rank S, after like you hit rank S, you can use it on the ranked ladder as much as you want. So it's actually really, really cool. Now the next thing I really want to talk about is the eligible Pokemon. So you can see it's the full dex going from the first Pokemon all the way to 227. And it's actually kind of funny. 227 is, I believe, Mega Metagross. So that's right before Xerneas, Yveltal, Zygarde, Diancie, Mewtwo, all the busted legendaries that we had for the base release of this game. Those are not legal in this format. So a lot of you guys that have been asking for non-legendary formats, this is the format for you. You're going to get to use the new Pokemon, the new Megas, with a much lower power creep. And I think this is going to be the most fun format we've actually had so far. So I'm super excited to use it. And I just want to mention as well, you can't use any of the new legendaries either. I haven't mentioned any of them by name, but this is your last chance to get out of this video before I start spoiling stuff, because we will be talking about a bunch of the new Pokemon in this game. If you're still playing the DLC, if you're trying to avoid spoilers, maybe this video isn't for you. You might want to go check out some of the other videos on this channel. This video probably does have some spoilers in it, but these other ones kind of don't. So if you still want to learn about the competitive scene, you want to see some of the good Pokemon, you want to see how battles kind of work in this game, think about checking out some of those other videos or coming back to this one once you're ready to actually see the meat and potatoes of what is going to be good. So that being said, standard ranked rules. You can't share held items. You can see these are all the rewards you get. If you get to rank A, you get 3 gold bottle caps, 5 regular bottle caps, Seed of Masteries, Big Nugget. Pretty cool stuff. Remember, they upgraded the rewards you get for getting like first and second in most games. So it's pretty decent rewards, I would say. It's a lot of fun to play the ladder. I think it's a pretty easy shot to rank A. And again, it just kind of sets up how to play the ranked rules. If you have any questions about this stuff, let me know in the comments. I'm going to do my absolute best to answer. But let's actually get into like the meat and potatoes of this video now, right? The most important thing, the 5 Pokemon, they're going to be like good. I'm going to list like 3 different sets of 5. I'm going to list 5 megas that are going to be like things you need to watch out for, stuff you should be using in your own games or stuff that should be like on your radar to build to counter. We're also going to list 5 new Pokemon that don't get megas that you still need to watch out for because they're going to be very, very popular. These are going to be the glue and the meat and potatoes that kind of hold a lot of teams together. And last but not least, we're going to take a look at 5 older Pokemon from the base release of this game that I believe have like a new lease on life, a new way to play them in this new meta, maybe through the use of new TMs and stuff like that. So let's get right into it. And I want to say before we get into it, the last thing, let me know what Pokemon you want to see me feature on this channel. We're going to be making a ton of content here. We make daily videos here. And let me know what sort of Pokemon you want to see me feature. Let me know if there's any new megas you're really excited to see. Let me know if there's like a new way to play something or something you want to see me make content on. Let me know. I'm going to try and make that content work. I want to make the stuff you guys want to see. So let me know what you want to see and let's get right into it. So I have a little list here of Pokemon that I think that are definitely like stuff that you should be respecting. We're on Cerebi right here because I think Cerebi has like the, the biggest, how would I word this? Cerebi has the widest amount of knowledge so far for where the game is. Like a lot of the other websites like Pokemon Showdown and Pokemon DB and Pokeos haven't really updated a lot of their base stats and moves and TMs list yet, so Cerebi's where we're going to be here. But that being said, I think the first Pokemon we really want to take a look at is going to be Mega Staraptor. Now, Mega Staraptor is ridiculous. I actually hosted a tournament with this thing the other day. I played Mega Staraptor. Another person in my group played Mega Staraptor. It's really good. Base 140 attack. It's a fighting flying. It loses its normal typing, gains fighting. And then from there, 100 base defense, 90 base Spadef on a 110 speed. Very, very, very usable Pokemon. If we click Mega Staraptor, we can actually like take a look at some of its moves and stuff like that. And look at the base form Staraptor sprite right here. So if we scroll down a little bit, we're scrolling. You can see when it evolves, it gets close combat, right? Which is really, really good. It turns that into a stab move when it actually mega evolves, and it gets a bunch of really good moves. I think it's really important to look at a lot of the moves these things get, because it's pretty good. You're probably going to be wanting to run close combat, maybe Brave Bird, another 120 base, really, really solid move. You can also run things like Brick Break if you want. When I run this guy, I like to go Bulk Up, and then the last move that I like to go is Fly. So my move set is honestly close combat, Fly, Brave Bird, and Bulk Up. I think that's the set that I'm most familiar with, and I really, really like this because what we're going to see in this meta is there's a lot of good flying types, there's a lot of good grass types, there's a lot of good bug types. And Staraptor kind of just comes in and dump trucks those. Staraptor is also really good against like the old guard of Pokemon that were good in like ranked battle seasons 1, 2, and 3. It's great against all the EQ spammers because it starts off as a base flying type. So if you're looking for like an EQ pivot in your team to, get you out of an Excadrill or a Garchomp pin, Staraptor can provide that and then Mega Evolve and one-shot them with like a massive Brave Bird. It's so strong. You really need to be respectful of this Pokemon, and it's going to be really, really good. I think the meta is going to be wrapped around this thing for a little bit. So be aware of Staraptor when you're building your own teams. And let me know if you agree or disagree with my thoughts on it in the comments below. The next one I actually want to take a look at, we already talked about it briefly, is going to be Mega Baxcalibur. Right? Mega Baxcalibur is going to be really good. It's a 115 base HP, which is massive. It's really, really huge. 175 attack, so that's like ridiculously strong, and then like 117 defense, 101 Spadef, very, very solid, right? That's crazy good base stats. If we take a look at this guy, let's start talking about some moves that it actually gets. Glaive Rush is going to be really good. So it says the user attacks by throwing its entire body into a reckless charge. However, the user is left wide open and unable to move for a time. So they've changed Glaive Rush from being what it used to be was like a stat drop. Not really a stat drop. It made you take like double damage from like physical attacks the next turn, right? They changed it into basically a Giga Impact Dragon move, which is really cool. I like this. I think this is good. Basically, when he goes Giga Impact, or when he goes Glaive Rush, it's kind of like how Godzilla like charges. It's like the glaives are going and it's shooting with its back. It's really, really cool. It's a good gap closer, right? Also gets access to like Ice Shard. It gets access to Freeze Dry if you wanted to just tech a Freeze Dry on there. That's so good for Gyarados and stuff like that. Ice Hammer is kind of cool. But it also gets things like Brick Break, gets some Elemental Fangs, it gets Swords Dance, which is so strong. It has enough special attack if you wanted to use Draco on it technically, but it also gets like Earthquake. I really like that. It gets Earthquake, gets Outrage, it gets Scale Shot and Icicle Spear, and it gets Sheer Cold, which is an auto freeze in this game, which is, you're not going to use Sheer Cold, but it's kind of cool. I think Icicle Spear is actually very good in this game as far as multi-hit moves goes. Is a very good one. Also gets things like Scale Shot and stuff like that. So I do think Mega Baxcalibur will be very viable. I think you're going to have the right amount of steel Pokemon to really weather the storm that it brings to the table. There are still a lot of good steel types. Things like Metagross are still going to be very good. So, you know, be aware of Mega Baxcalibur and try and use it to the best of your ability. Now, the next Pokemon I'm going to talk about is one that, like, you guys probably aren't thinking is going to be good, but there's a Pokemon that's just like it that's been good already, and that's Mega Crabominable. It's basically just like a much better Avalugg. So this thing has a 97 base HP, which is good, 157 base attack, which is good, 122 base defense, which is good, and then a 107 base speed up, which is good. Now remember, speed stat just doesn't really work the same way in this game. You don't need to have like a high speed stat to be viable. It doesn't affect your movement speed, it affects your cooldown. So if you're a one-shot delete button machine with like gap closers, you don't care about your speed stat. And so that's how this thing likes to play. So Mega Crabominable is actually going to be very viable. Ice Fighting is a really unique type. It's a very actually offensive type. You're going to be able to go for big damage against like flying Pokemon with your ice moves, and then big damage against steel types with your fighting moves. You see that's like really good coverage in this meta right now. I think it's going to be a very, very slept on Pokemon. So that being said, it gets things like Ice Punch when it evolves, it gets Brick Break, it gets Mach Punch, Ice Hammer, Close Combat for gap closing. It also gets access to Bulk Up. So like Bulk Up into a close combat, something's deleted. Like Bulk Up, Close Combat, Mach Punch, like GG, shake my hand, you know? I think it also will get access to Drain Punch, I believe. They better give it Drain Punch. Drain Punch? There it is. There's Drain Punch. There's Drain Punch. Drain Punch is in the DLC. Really, really cool to see Drain Punch joining the fray. Also gets access to like cool stuff like First Impression, Icicle Spear, just like we talked about with the Baxcalibur. So this thing will be very, very viable. I think that it's going to be similar to Baxcalibur, and that a lot of the people that want to run the Baxcalibur might want to run the Crab and vice versa. One of the cool reasons you might want to run the Crab is if you don't want another Dragon weakness on your team. They both do share that Fairy weakness. But one cool thing about the Crab is it also comes with a Dark Resist, which might actually end up being a little bit better depending on how popular stuff like Mega Absol Z is. So I actually really like this Pokemon. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It gets a lot of really cool moves. Even things like Gunk Shot gets very, very good coverage. And it's not as weak to those steel types as Baxcalibur is, because you can just dump truck them with close combat. Very, very usable mon. Keep it on your radar. Tech those fire moves. You're starting to see a little bit of a situation where like fire's neutral in the Baxcalibur. Fire's super effective here. There's a bunch of other things fire's going to be useful against, and it's also going to be including in the next one. Fire's going to be pretty good into another bug-looking type thing, Mega Golisopod. I actually think this might be the best new Pokemon. Like, these aren't in any order. These are just kind of what I wrote down here. But Mega Golisopod is going to be a busted. Like, 150 base attack, 175, 120. When this thing Mega Evolves, it also gains the Steel typing. So it has like, it's the base stat of 2 Scizors, it feels like. It's so strong, right? It's basically like a super tank Metagross. That's how I'm looking at this thing. It goes into having a 4 times weakness to fire, but that's its only weakness. So you're starting to see a situation where like these fire moves that things can tech might be a little bit premium in this meta. First Impression is usable. I do like First Impression in this game. I think it's great for, you know, just getting that really, really good damage right off the rip. It's solid. Aqua Jet's good. Things like Drill Run are really cool to see. Leech Life for healing, solid. Iron Head gets that stab, gets access to Swords Dance. You can liquidate before you Mega while you still have that water stab. Things like Brick Break, Bulk Up right there, similar like to the Crabominable, like Bulk Up strats on these slower Pokemon are good. Also Swords Dance if you want. Look at all this coverage. Like, it gets it all. It gets all of it. Like Poison Jabs, X-Scissors, U-Turns, Taunts, Gunk Shots, Close Combat. Like, what else do you want? This thing literally does it all. This Swiss Army knife of Pokemon, Dual Chop, just walk up into the Baxcalibur and like mess them up, you know what I mean? It's solid. Very, very cool Pokemon. I think Golisopod's going to be like tier 1 Mega, and like I think like this thing plus screens is going to be very, very popular. So be on the lookout for that. I would expect to see a lot of like Ampharos, Golisopod. They cover each other very, very well. What's Golisopod weak against? Like flying moves, Ampharos hit it. What's Ampharos weak against? Ground. Pivot in your bug type Golisopod. Very, very solid stuff. I think it's going to be a very, very cool combo, and just be on the lookout for it. Now, the last Pokemon that I actually want to mention out of all these new Megas, remember, you can't use these legendary ones. So you can't use the Heatran, can't use the Darkrai. I think the last one that you really want to keep an eye on is not like the Lucario or the Absol or the Raichus. I think those are going to be so common because people are just using them, but they're not really going to be broken. And Garchomp Z isn't out yet. So the last one that I think is going to be worth respecting is actually Golurk. Mega Golurk, we have the actual fixed stats here. It had the same stats as Heatran for a little bit, but it's a ground ghost, 89 base HP, 159 attack, which is great. 105 defense is great, 105 speed F is great. Now the cool thing about Mega Golurk, right? Let's take a look at some of its moves here. First of all, ground moves are just premium. Like, the only way to really stop them is to mitigate them with like a bug or grass typing, or nullify them with flying. Otherwise, there's no abilities, there's no levitate. You're just gonna swing in and hit everything with like a big alpha Golurk earthquake. It gets access to Shadow Punch. It gets access to Heavy Slime, Gap Closer, Phantom Force, Gap Closer. You're starting to see like a little bit of a pattern where you're like, oh shoot, this guy's Gap Closers and AoE, like, it's almost built like this is what Mega Excadrill should have been, in my opinion. Very, very solid mon so far. Brick Break, Rock Slide, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, the elemental punches. It gets Dig too if you want to use Dig as well. There's other moves that it gets. It gets Fly. It's always had Fly. I think that's so weird that it gets that, but you can use that to hit grass types if you want. Knockoff's good. It gets Self-Destruct if you want to make that little meme set. It also gets, the move we want to take a look at here is Close Combat. That's cool. It also gets access to Fissure. Now, Fissure's built a little bit different in this game. It's not an OHKO, it's not a one-hit KO move. It's just a 250 base power move that takes a really, really long time to charge. But since we stab it, right, we get the same type attack bonus on that Fissure. It is basically a one-hit KO move. So you can set up like a bulk up and just get ready to just delete something. I think this is such a cool mon. You definitely need to be respectful of this thing. This is like the new Earthquake spammer guy, in my opinion. Yes, it has a lot of weaknesses. Grass, water, dark, ghost, ice. Yes, those are a lot of weaknesses, right? But that's where like good defensive teammates might come in, like a Metagross or something. I think, again, screens with this thing is going to be very viable. I think this is going to be a really, really important mon to understand how to use. And now that you guys have watched this video, when you go on the rank ladder, you're going to know a lot of what it does as well. So be on the lookout for this guy. Again, the 5 that you really need to watch out for are going to be that Mega Staraptor, the Mega Baxcalibur, and then I would say these are a bunch of the same type of mons, but like the Crabominable, Mega Golisopod, and Golurk. They have very similar play styles, but you're starting to kind of see a pattern where like special attacking moves, psychic moves are good, like, and to most of them. Fire moves are good into most of them. So when you're building your teams to capitalize on these guys, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind and think about the Pokemon that utilize those moves. Things like maybe like a Delphox or like different psychic users with good defensive coverage. Those might be the key to like breaking these things before they actually get the ball rolling and steamrolling your way right to rank A. The next thing I actually want to talk about is going to be 5 new Pokemon that don't have Mega Evolutions that I think you should be using to actually, you know, get an advantage in this new Ranked Battle Season 4 rule set. At the same time, like, you need to be aware of them, just like you are aware of these Megas when you're like playing against them as well, because they're kind of tricky. So the first one I actually want to talk about, we're talking about some of the trickiest Pokemon in the game. This guy is going to change. People going to be learning today. It's going to be Mr. Rime. Mr. Rime is such a cool Pokemon. You can also briefly talk about like Eviolite Mr. Mime, the ice type, the unevolved form of this thing. Let's click on this guy. You can see it has like this one right here is the unevolved form, but Mr. Rime gets so many cool moves. We actually just got done talking about how like Psychic is good into like the Crabominable and a couple other things. It's good into the Staraptor as well. Ice is good into the Staraptor as well. This thing will be viable, and the reason why you kind of want to use this thing over just like a random ice type is because it also, similar to some of the best ice types in the game like Glaceon, it gets freeze dry, right? So the cool thing about this, look at all these different like tech moves it gets. It gets Infestation, which is one of the best moves in the game, bar none. Like, this is one of the best moves in the game. You trap something, you swap, they can't swap, and you pin immediately, right? It gets dual screens, Infestation and Freeze Dry. It also gets, like, Dazzling Gleam, Psychic, Calm Mind, Psyshock, Brick Break for screens. This thing is, like, we were talking about the Swiss Army knife of Pokemon. Mr. Rime always has been. It's only really been legal in, like, I think one of the Sword and Shield formats, but, like, this thing literally gets, like, every weird special move. Focus Blast, Metronome, Thunders, like, it gets it all. It really does get it all. Triple Axle 2 gets the Sheer Cold as well. Sheer Cold being a special attack that has an auto freeze if it hits. Be on the lookout for Mr. Mime. Don't get tricked by it. Like, Sash Mr. Mime sets will be viable. bulky dual screen Mr. Rhyme sets will be viable. It's going to be strong. Be on the lookout. Don't be fooled. Just send them to the Shrouded Realm as fast as possible. Don't fall for any infestation baits, and you should probably be in a good spot. So I think it's going to be a good mon, but I think it's something you definitely have to watch out for. What is the next thing on my list? The next thing on my list is going to be something that I still think will be viable, because I think one of the aspects of this format that we're going to see is a big drop-off of Thunderbolt users. Thunderbolt's not going to be as good into a meta built around, like, you know, Crabominable, what is that? Like, Golurk, Baxcalibur. Thunderbolt's not as good in that. There's not as much, like, Gyarados energy there, right? And also, with, like, the prevalence of things like Excadrill from the base form decks, you're not going to see as much Thunderbolts. So that's going to really enable something like a Corviknight to have a lot of value. And the reason why you might want to use something like a Corviknight over a Skarmory is because Corviknight does a lot of what it does without requiring the Mega like Skarmory does. It has like a just better base stats, right? So it gets Steel Wing, it gets Iron Defense, but realistically, you kind of just want to set up with this thing and just rip Brave Birds and Heavy Slams, right? That's all you really want to do. Brave Birds, Heavy Slams. You can also set screens with it. I do like Screens Corv. I think it's a viable mon. Also gets access to like Fly and things like that. I think it's going to be cool. Like, I've always been a fan of Corviknight, and one of the cool things about it is, like, let's think about, like, the meta. Sash Excadrill is still going to be everywhere. Sash Lucarios, all the Sash leads that are actually, like, common in the game right now, can't really break like a Rocky Helmet Corviknight very well at all. You're going to be in for a great time. You can mitigate, you can go for a bunch of different moves, and you should be able to outvalue a lot of different things. It gets so many cool things. Dual Wing Beat's good in this game, and so I think that's going to be something that's worth respecting, that you don't really need to go and invest a ton of resources into, that could also be like a dual screen setter at the start of the game. So be aware of Corviknight at the very least, and let me know if you agree. Let me know if you think Corviknight's going to be good in this game, and let's go into the next mon here. The next mon here, I need to give a disclaimer. I said we're going to be listing 5 Pokemon that don't get a Mega Evolution. This one technically does get a Mega Evolution, but it doesn't get it in Ranked Battle Season 4, and even if you were talking about this mon's Mega Evolution, the version that we're going to be talking about is still just really good even without it, and that is actually going to be Swampert. I think Swampert is actually going to be really, really good in this format. Taking a look at Swampert over here, Swampert is just absolutely amazing. Water ground typing. This checks like everything. Everything that was good in like the base form of like ZA, this is good against. You have Ice Punch for dragons, Big Stab ground attacks, Gap Closer water moves, Bulk Up. You have access to so many different things. You can technically build it physical or special. Muddy Water's good. Gets like Earth Power, Sludge Bomb, Ice Beam, things like that if you want to run it. Surf for gap closing. Very, very usable mon. Bulk Up gets access to Brick Break. So this thing is really, really good. If you're having problems with like Sash users giving you a hard time, this is the Sash user that can also outvalue a lot of other Sash users. And it's very, very good on a team with like a weakness to electric. Like if you do have a massive weakness to electric, like you're using that Mega Staraptor, this can be a really good mon to pivot into, soak that damage, and just like trade effectively without being like a Sash Excadrill. So if you're done using Sash Excadrill and you want to have a ground type that can outvalue things, that doesn't have like a 4 times weakness to ice, Swampert's your guy. I think it's going to be a very, very usable mon. Gets a lot of cool stuff. Does it get Fisher? Yes. Oh, that's so good. Like, it's so good. Swampert's so good. It gets so many cool things. I really do like this Pokemon. And I do like Rocky Helmet on it as its base item. I just think it's very, very solid for trading. You're going to be able to soak a lot of damage, deal a lot of damage. And Swampert should just be a really, really cool Pokemon. Let me know if you agree or disagree. But I think this thing is going to be very, very meta in the next format. The next Pokemon I want to talk about is one that I have not seen that many people talking about at all. It's going to be Porygon-Z. Now, you could talk about Porygon-Z and Porygon-2 with Eviolite in the same vein if you want. They're both going to be viable, and that's because they just have really, really high base stats, especially on that Porygon-2 with the Eviolite. Very, very solid stuff, but this thing gets Bolt Beam. It gets Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Tri-Attack. Like, I think it gets Tri-Attack. It gets some sort of, like, whatever move. Actually, do you not get Tri-Attack anymore? My bad. I don't think it gets Tri-Attack anymore, but it gets some sort of, like, normal stab. You get Hyper Beam things. I mean, it's basically a Mega Drampa without the Mega. So you can just leave with this thing and be like, delete, delete, delete. Life Orb, Bolt Beam, normal coverage, delete. You have access to Nasty Plot. You have access to so many things. Thunderbolts, Shadow Balls, Flash Cannons, Dark Pulses. everything. You have everything on this thing. It is Tri-Attack. There it is. There's Tri-Attack. There. I was like, I knew it was in the game. It's a TM now. So yeah, I think Porygon-Z is going to be very viable. It's going to be a bit of a glass cannon in this game just because, like, you will get tapped if anyone has, like, a setup move, but I do think it is very, very good. Porygon 2 also only has, like, a little bit less special attack, so it still does significant damage, and because you have that Eevee Light, you're going to be able to mitigate a lot of damage since it's not a fully evolved Pokemon. Both of them are going to be very good. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Porygon-Z in the comments, and we're going to take a look at the last Pokemon. And the last Pokemon, I'm going to say I have not used this yet, but I've been doing a little bit of research on it, and if everything that I'm seeing, like, comes through, this thing is going to be really, really good. And that is going to be Mimikyu. Now, everyone knows that there's no abilities in this game, right? There's no abilities. So how does Mimikyu work? From what I've been able to gather, Mimikyu still retains Disguise, which means the first time it gets hit, it gets to basically take one hit at, like, the cost of, like, 10% of its health, right? Disguise, once per battle, like, so the abilities, it's still there. I mean, that's what Cerebi says. But as far as what I can tell, that's Disguise works. Which, again, if it didn't work, why would they even have Mimikyu in the game? Like, you know, it just doesn't even seem like it would really fit. But that being said, the cool thing about this is you can put, like, a Life Orb on it. So, like, Swords Dance, Life Orb, and then, like, Gap Closers. You can go with, like, a Phantom Force, a Play Rough, and then, like, a Shadow Sneak or a Wood Hammer. Very solid mon for trading. You can go 1 for 1 or 1 for 2 in a lot of situations with this little guy. And I think it's going to be a really, really good Pokemon. You need to be respectful of it. And again, it's tiny, right? So that means it's going to be hard to target. It's going to be kind of similar to like Stunfisk was in the, you know, first 3 ranked battle seasons where it's kind of hard to target, kind of hard to hit. Fairy Ghost typing is very, very good at mitigating damage. So if your opponent's running at you with a big Garchomp and they go for the Dragon Rush and you pivot into Mimikyu, they're up the creek without a paddle, right? So I think it's going to be a good Pokemon. Let me know if I did get the Disguise part. It's really hard to get, like, information since there's no way to play the ranked battle ladder right now. There's no one really using a lot of these Pokemon, and it's hard to gather this info, but I think that the Disguise does work correctly. Let me know in the comments. Alright, so the next thing I actually want to talk about are going to be 5 Pokemon that were legal in Ranked Battles Seasons 1 through 3 that I actually think are going to be a lot better in Ranked Battles Season 4 now that we have a better understanding of what the meta is actually going to be looking like with all of these new Megas, all these new Pokemon from the DLC. What Pokemon are actually going to get a buff and have their actual movesets and typings actually be more beneficial in this format. I think the first one to actually take a look at is going to be Mega Gardevoir. Let's realistically talk about like what Megas I said were going to be good. Things like the Crabominable, that's weak to Psychic and Fairy. Things like the Staraptor, weak against Psychic and Fairy. You're starting to see a pattern. Baxcalibur, weak against that Fairy right there. So if everyone has that new toy syndrome and they're really trying to feature a bunch of the new Megas, other than the Golisopod, which does need to be Mega to gain that Steel typing, Gardevoir is actually good into a lot of those while still actually retaining checks against a lot of the big popular dragons from Ranked Battle Season 1. This thing gets homing moves in Psyshock and Psychic. It gets Thunderbolt, Moonblast. Really, really solid mon. I would really recommend you guys actually trying out Mega Gardevoir. After a Calm Mind, this thing doesn't really die to a lot of stuff, and it just deals massive damage. It's the closest thing we actually have to a Xerneas in this format. It's going to be a very, very usable Pokemon. You're going to be blown away by how much better this thing is in this format than it was in Ranked Battle Seasons 1 through 3. There's going to be less Excadrills, less just stuff that gives it a lot of problems, and more things that just get one-shotted by our really, really good Fairy Psychic typing. So think about checking it out. You also get access to Mystical Fire if that Golisopod tries to get cute, right? So I think Gardevoir really is like a usable Pokemon in this format. Let me know if you agree or disagree. But I also think we're going to see like just overall less like Ampharos and stuff like that too. The stuff that really like slows down Gardevoir and gives it a hard time. People are going to be trying all the different new toys, all the new Megas, and you can just start blasting with as many moves as you want. And I think it also does get like Energy Ball and stuff like that for like Swamperts and stuff. Very, very cool Pokemon. Think about trying it out. I promise you won't be disappointed. The next Pokemon I'm going to actually be talking about is going to be very similar to the Gardevoir. It's actually very similar to the Gardevoir. The same reasons why Gardevoir is good, this thing is good. And that is going to be Delphox. Right? Delphox is going to be very, very solid right here. Mega Delphox specifically, same reasons. It gets dual screens. It gets homing moves. It gets that psychic coverage. This thing's actually maybe even better than the guard because it's good against the Staraptor. It's good against the Crabominable. It's good against the Golisopod, right? It's good against everything. Everything. There's going to be just less dragons, less earthquakes, less stuff that gives this guy problems. All the oppressive stuff from Ranked Battle Season 1 are going to be replaced by people trying out new toys and new fun stuff. And Delphox, just like Gardevoir, is one of those Pokemon that says, you gotta be this tall to ride. You can go screens, you can go just like Calm Mind setup, blow things up. The Mega is still very, very strong in my opinion, and it gets access to just a wide variety of very, very usable moves. So think about trying out this one with a new coat of paint, a new lease on life, if you will. There's also gonna be like less Greninjas and stuff around than there were in Season 1. So I think this is gonna be a very, very viable Pokemon. Think about trying it out. Let me know what you think. And the next Pokemon I'll talk about is something you guys probably aren't going to see coming. It's going to be something you probably wouldn't see coming. It's Doublade. I think Eviolite Doublade actually has really, really good opportunities here. Remember the Eviolite, we talked about it on a couple Pokemon already, but it gives you a 1.5 boost to your defense and Spadef stats if you are not fully evolved. So with this guy, you want to come in, pop a Swords Dance, and then from there, you have like Sacred Sword, Shadow Sneaks, Aerial Aces, Shadow Claws, Iron Heads, all these things. And you actually hit really hard, you don't die, and the reason why this thing is good is there's just going to be less Earthquake. If someone's trying to get cute with Baxcalibur, they will never break your Eviolite Doublade. If they're trying to get cute with, let's see, like Crabominable, no they're not. Like they're not hitting you. Ice fighting against a Ghost Steel, that doesn't really work out quite as well as they might think. And so I think this is going to be a very surprisingly good Pokemon. Let me know if you agree or disagree, but this is going to be like a diamond in the rough, high skill ceiling Pokemon for this format. But this plus screens is going to be unbreakable, like, because there's no legendaries to really come in and, you know, pop you before you're really ready. You're going to be a very, very usable Pokemon, and let me know what you think. The next one I want to talk about, this is a personal favorite of mine, a Pokemon that I've actually said has been good for a really, really long time, and that is going to be Slowbro. All of the variants of Slowbro. You got Slowbro, Galarian Slowbro, Slowking, Galarian Slowking, all of those Pokemon, but specifically Slowbro, this base one is going to be good. Let's talk about it, right? What's going to be good in these formats? The fighting types, the megas. There's a lot of good fighting type megas. Things like Crabominable, things like Staraptor. Those can get psychic, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You have things like the Golurk. You can hit those with your water attacks. You can also hit Golisopod with Flamethrower. Like, Slowbro is the full package. Calm Mind, psychic coverage, fire coverage, water coverage. Like, oh my gosh, it's just so good. It can go Mega if it wants to. It can be built Rocky Helmet, Citrus, Life Orb, so many different ways. Expert Belt is a very solid one. Great stabs. Water Psychic is like Chef's Kiss premium into all of those Megas. Like, we're taking a look back at the Megas here. Like, Slowbro is great into Baxcalibur. Like, Slowbro's good into all of the like legal new Megas. Look at it. Like, it has super effective moves on like all of them. Absol might give it a little bit of a hard time, but like, it's also Absol's highest base stat is physical, Slowbro's highest base stat is its defense, right? You can just out-trade it, right? The Pikachus are going to give it a little bit of a hard time, I think, but, you know, you can cover that up with like a ground resist of your own, like your own Mega Golurk or something. I think Slowbro's going to be a very, very usable Pokemon. Let me know if you agree or disagree here, but I think Diamond in the Rough, like Slowbro, will just absolutely like break people, make it so they can't really do that much. It's also a psychic type, so a lot of those fighting types, you can have the perfect pivot to block that damage and then repin those guys super easy. Now, the last Pokemon that I actually think is going to be so much more viable in this format than in any of the other formats that it's been in is, let me know if you agree with it, it's going to be Eternal Floette, if I can find it. Here it is. Well, that's weird. Why isn't there... There should be another form of Floette, but like, it's the AZ Floette. Here it is right here. It's this one, and Mega Floette. Now, the reason why this Pokemon is actually going to be better, in my opinion, than ever before is because it always had to compete with like legendaries for like that fairy type spot. Light of Ruin is an absolutely amazing move. It deals so much damage. Yes, it has recoil, but it covers the whole map in a huge beam. This is like the only power creep, like unique Pokemon that we have. This is the closest thing this format actually has to a legendary. You can go Calm Mind, you can go Moonblast, Light of Ruin, Fairy Feather this thing, and just start blasting, literally. It gets some coverage here too. Things like Energy Ball, Solar Beams. I think it might get one type of screen, but like Light of Ruin's a 140. That is just absolutely redonkulous. And again, a lot of the Pokemon that are going to be good in this format take fairy moves at either super effective or neutral, where you can just one-shot like everything if you have like a Calm Mind, Fairy Feather, plus move boost on that thing. It gets its own respective mega as well if you want to use that. And so I think this is like the only time this Pokemon will actually see some competitive play in ZA, because once other legendaries start to roll in, this thing's going to get like absolutely power crept. But right now, I definitely do think it is viable. And that is going to be all of the Pokemon that you guys need to be respectful of, in my opinion, as far as like anti-meta stuff that wasn't already on your radar, right? Everyone knows Garchomp's going to be good. Everyone knows Chandelure is going to be good. Everyone knows Lucario and Excadrill is going to be good. You guys already know all that. I wanted to bring you guys 5 Pokemon that in each of the different categories that I felt you guys wouldn't really take a look at unless someone actually sat you down and ran you through why they were good. If you agreed with me, let me know. If you guys want to see more educational content like this, think about dropping a sub on the channel, think about leaving a comment, let me know what you want to see in future videos. And other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you are super excited playing the DLC. I can't wait to actually finish the thing so I can get into the ranked battles myself. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out, and I'll see you guys next time.